all of these cards, again, because they have the energizing symbol on them, that means that these are special energizing cards, and I will be, instead of discarding them, I'm going to be handing them to my rogue friend. Let's talk about a brand new starting class, the Energist. The Energist is coming to Phantom Epoch second printing and Exiles of Volan Kickstarter on March 10th. And during the Kickstarter, it will be bundled for free with Exiles of Volan. Once it hits retail, it will be sold separately. So if this class is of interest to you, make sure to get in on it during the Kickstarter. Now, the Energist is meant to be the ultimate support class. You're going to want to have an Energist with you whenever you go on a mission. Let's take a look at some of the components that the Energist uses. So the first thing that you might notice here, looking at the Energist starting hand, is the number of cards. Rather than the usual 10 cards in its hand, it actually has 12 cards. And that's because it has a very special kind of card, energizing cards. You'll notice the blue ring on these at the top left. That indicates that it is an energizing card. And we'll talk in just a moment about what that is. But the Energist can actually exceed the usual 10 card hand size limit and have up to 12 cards, as long as at least 2 of them are energizing cards. Now, energizing cards are pretty cool. Unlike any other card, when it's played, it doesn't go straight into the Energist discard pile. Instead, it actually gets put into an ally's hand for that ally to play on a future turn. So, for example, if I were the Energist and I were to play Energizing Levitation, I would gain my flying, I would move 2, and then instead of discarding it, I would give that card to one of my friends. And then on a future turn, they can select that card as if it was one of their own, and then they can gain flying and move 2. And once they do, then and only then does that card get moved into the Energist's discard pile. So it increases the longevity of the Energist's friends. It gives them access to abilities that they may not otherwise have access to, and it gives them all kinds of extra utility. Another cool feature of the Energist is this card right here. This is one of the key cards for the Energist, Conserve Energy. And the really neat thing about this is once it's played and it's put in the persistent area, whenever the Energist would otherwise discard a card, instead of discarding it, they put it on Conserve Energy. And then during any of their turns, the Energist can choose to discard Conserve Energy and return all of the cards on top of it to their hand without having to rest. So it's not uncommon for an Energist to go an entire mission without resting once. They also have cards that heal their allies. They have cards that let their allies play their own cards multiple times without discarding them. They have cards that help their allies to recover discarded cards. They can even heal their allies. The Energist is the ultimate support class. But it also can do a whole lot on its own, even without bolstering its allies. Let's play a couple of turns as the Energist and see how exactly it plays. All right, so we're going to play a couple of rounds on the Volan 6 map. We can see that there's a lot of gap spaces here. Our enemies are pretty well defended behind walls and objects, and all of them are ranged. We're going to be fighting Volanan scouts and Volanan archers. So looking at this as the Energist, I think that flying is going to come in pretty handy here with all these gaps. So first off, I am going to make sure to play my Conserve Energy card. Want to get that up right away. And let's play Energizing Levitation. And we want to be able to move, and let's throw in an attack. And we'll plan on handing all of these cards off to, all of them except Conserve Energy, of course, off to our rogue afterwards. And on the rogue, let's get some movement happening, some attacks happening. And we'll be going fairly late in the round here. So let's see how this works out for us. Can actually count things out for the rogue, so I might have planned this very poorly. I don't have the scripting set up in this save properly for the Energist apparently, so we'll be manually taking care of that. But first of all, we have the Volanan Archer. Now, on this particular mission, all of the enemies are staying in place. Like I said, they're pretty well defended, so they want to stay where they are. So unless we're in range of them, we don't really have to worry too much about being attacked at the moment. Let's see. The yellow archer does not have us in range, and it is our rogue's turn. So let's do a leap 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, followed by our move 4. Let's move 3 here, actually. And what we're going to do is we're going to throw a throwing knife down at this Volanan archer, who currently has -1 guard. So that's going to be 4 damage to the Volanan archer. And then let's see if we can break this object that the scout's hiding behind. That's 1 damage to it. And a fumble. So 1 damage. And that's it for our rogue's turn. Now, as the Energist, what we all want to see, I'm putting down conserve energy. So all of my future discarded cards will be going on top of that instead of being discarded. Going to go ahead and give myself flying. I'm going to go 1, 2, and then let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then let's do another attack against the archer. An attack -1. Now, all of these cards, again, because they have the energizing symbol on them, that means that these are special energizing cards, and I will be, instead of discarding them, I'm going to be handing them to my rogue friend. So that was an attack -1. Enemy has -1 guard, so that works out to 2 damage. All right, now we have our dark blue Volanan scout, who is going to be doing an attack with Inflict Blinded on the rogue, which is rather unfortunate. So that is a 3 damage attack. I do have 1 guard as a slink, so 2 damage. And blinded, which I don't love at all. Similarly, the yellow scout's going to be doing the exact same thing. Let's see. Fumble. But I'm already blind, so that's a bummer, regardless. All right, go around. And we really want to take out that archer because those archers hurt. So let's see what we can do here. I also want to defend myself. So I think what I'm going to do on the Energist actually here is I'm probably going to do a couple of temporary effects, distortion field, and that's going to make it so anyone that attacks me or an ally in range needs to roll the accuracy die and can only proceed with the attack if they're successful. I'm also going to put up follow lead, which means I'm going to be able to copy one of the rogue's attacks. So let's see. Well, let's make sure our rogue gains some flying here. And I want to stay in range of the Energist. So let's get a find. Let's get find vulnerability up. And let's maybe do a serrated edge attack. Actually, no, let's do a backstab. Well, no. We'll stick with serrated edge. I was right the first time. All right. Let's prepare our adversaries and start the round. So once again, we'll be taking care of the Energist's AP manually, but the Energist does go first, so I'm going to put up both of these temporary effects. And then Jimmy, the hand rogue, is next. So I will gain flying and move 1 into that gap space. And then I'm going to go ahead and use serrated edge with find vulnerability on this scout here. So I am blind, so first of all, let's see if I even can do it, and I can not do it. So scratch all of that. Next up is the yellow Volan archer, who does have both of us in range and is attacking both of us. An attack -2, starting with the Energist. I made a mistake there though, because I do have distortion field up. So before it can actually do this attack, which would hit me for 4, it needs to roll the accuracy die. So thanks to distortion field, thanks to our super awesome Energist, that attack ends up doing nothing to me. It's now going to be attacking Jimmy the Hand, our rogue. And it does succeed on that one, so it will attack. And it does have to roll accuracy through the Energist. And it ends up hitting the Energist. So one just avoided damage from one attack, but ended up taking damage anyways. And because the Energist takes damage, it does in fact lose flying. All right, now the yellow Volan scout is going to try and inflict a weaken on the rogue and fails to do so, thankfully. Dark blue Volan scout does not have anyone in range, so that is going to be it for the round. Well, now let's play one more round and see what we can do here. I think I want to do some attacks. I think I'll just do the one early attack. You know what? Let's get a heal in. Why not? Show you how that works. All right. And then the rogue. The blind is really hurting me right now. But let's see if we can manage to get an attack through this time so that the Energist can follow lead on it. All right, prepare our adversaries and start the round. So the Energist is actually an 8. Our rogue is actually a 5, and the rogue will go first. So let's start with a backstab on the scout. And again, I'm still blind. And I cannot do the backstab. That's it. Now let's try energizing offense. If I was actually playing and not just showing stuff off, like how badly I can roll the accuracy die, I would probably have rested right after getting blind. But anyways, I didn't. So it is the archer's turn. Red archer can't do anything. Yellow archer is going to be trying to light our Energist on fire. And succeeds with that. And then it is the Energist's turn, so just right away I take that burning damage. Probably a good thing I prepared a heal here. And let's do, so I'm going to put down borrowed time. Well, what that does is it lets me convert an action card into a heal equal to the AP value of the card. And then it gets placed on borrowed time and can't be used again until borrowed time is discarded. So I'm going to convert restorative field into a heal 3. I'll take my bandage and I will heal myself for 3 HP. Well, I'd probably want to convert a much higher AP card for that. But I didn't. All right, now let's do Faint. So Faint is interesting because it's an attack that can be performed by the Energist himself, or it could be performed by an ally in the Energist's range. A lot of the time, I would probably rather get another character to perform an attack and maybe take advantage of some of their crits or some of the attachments or equipment they have. But because my only ally is blind and cannot hit anything, I don't want the rogue to do this attack. I want the Energist to. So the Energist is going to go ahead and attack the yellow archer. And now to finish off my turn, I did just finish off the archer. So we can end this on a high note here. One enemy defeated. But to finish off my turn, the Energist isn't done its turn yet. I do have to discard the temporary cards I had from last round, which I should have done at the start of my turn. And now I'm going to actually choose to discard Conserve Energy, which again lets me recover all of the cards that were on top of it without having to rest. So even though I've just played 3 full rounds as the Energist, I have almost all of my cards back, and I didn't need to rest in order to do that. So once again, the Energist is just a super powerful, very adaptive class that can do all kinds of different really cool things. And the advanced classes, I'm not showing them here, but they're really exciting too. I think you're going to love them. So let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll see you on March 10th for the Kickstarter.